David.
Good morning, Bryce.
And good morning, Green Kettle High School, where it's always a great day to be a Tiger. I'm Bryce Whitney.
And I'm David McGinnity.
And this is GHS News.
That jingle, jangle, jingle, jingle, jangle, as I go riding merrily along. Jingle, jangle, and they sing, oh, ain't you glad you're single? Jingle, jangle.
Let's kick things off with our sports. I am sad to even announce this. Don't even want to. Greencastle barely lets Danville win by barely anything. 21-14. By God, look what time it is, David. You know what time that is?
Why, by golly, it's Ink Pop Topics time.
Yes, it is for sure.
Let's move on, shall we?
College football playoff. Who's in it and who ain't?
America allowed Pearl Harbor to be attacked in order to join the war.
Air pollution kills 600,000 children annually.
A pony is bought with lemonade?
Italy, a 6.6 magnitude earthquake hit Sunday, October 30th.
Supreme Court will hear a case about transgender bathrooms in school. Oh, hi there. I'm David McGinnity, and this is David Talks. Well, it sent me another question. I just keep getting them, it's weird. It says, how do I balance everyday life? Well, the way I balance everyday life is very carefully, very, very vigorously. You need to know what you're doing in every minute of the day. Usually I slip in about 2 hours of self-contemplation. I really like to reflect on myself, you know? Really brings out the answers that you always need in times of need. The rest of the day is kind of a blur. Thank you. This has been David Talks.
Welcome to Interview. I'm Bryce Whitney, and today we have Mr. Hankey on the show. Mr. Hankey, I'm going to ask you a couple questions here generated by the student body. You can answer them if you want to, if you choose not to, that's all right. So let's get down to it. Mr. Hankey, how many bow ties have you accumulated into your collection over the years?
Ooh, that's a good question. I probably have about 20 regular bow ties, and then I have probably another 20 to 30 seasonal ones, Christmas and Thanksgiving and that sort of thing.
That's definitely a goal I want to reach in my life.
I would think so.
Yes. All things being considered, would you ever sacrifice your neck to wearing a regular tie?
I have worn regular ties in the past. Usually only around Christmas time. As I mentioned, I've already got some seasonal bow ties, but I don't have enough to go every day, and this is my goal, to go every day from Thanksgiving to Christmas wearing a new Christmas tie each day. I don't have enough bow ties to do that, so I have to dip back to my supply of regular ties, regular Christmas ties to do that. So you'll see me around Christmas time having regular ties, and I've got a few tie jokes I'll be telling, so something to look forward to.
Oh yay. Craziest story that ever developed in your classroom?
The craziest story that I can tell on camera?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, okay. So probably the craziest one, we were having this was when I used to teach physics. We had an experiment, and I had gotten all of my materials laid out the night before, everything I needed. I brought into the classroom, and I realized I had forgotten that I needed pennies. I'd gone all over to Walmart and to Headley's hardware store to get all the fancy supplies, the things I need for this experiment, and I forgot the pennies. And so I'm panicking because here I am in my room and it's time to run the experiment, and I got all the fancy stuff and I don't have a handful of pennies that's keeping me from doing this. So I tell all the students, turn out your pockets, please, I need these pennies to do this. So everyone's digging through their pockets to see if they have any loose change, and we're still short. And one student, I won't mention any names, but one student says, well, I've got some out in my car, I've got some loose change in my car, can I go get it? And I said, yeah, hurry, go down there and get it. And so she goes downstairs to her car to get the pennies out, and 5 minutes pass, And then 10 minutes pass. I'm like, what is taking so long? And one of my students looks out the window and says, Mr. Hankey, isn't that her just driving down the road there, driving down Washington? I'm like, holy crap, that is. So like at the end of class, and the experiment, there's just no time now. Finally, at the end of the class, they come back and she says, well, Mr. Hankey, I couldn't find any pennies in my car, but while I was there, I just decided to drive to Dairy Castle and get some dessert. And I was just like livid. I was fierce. I'm like, not only did we not get to do the experiment today, but you drove during my class period to go to Dairy Castle. And they're like, it's totally cool, Mr. Hankey. We got you some ice cream too. Which did make it cool. That was all right. So there you go.
And there you have it. Thank you,
The
Mr.
story.
Hankey, for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. As tradition, who's the next teacher?
I would be interested in hearing what Mr. Wheeler has to say. I bet he has some good stories.
I like it. See you next week.